Here's what's happening in Dallas, Texas. And today we're talking about the brand new terminal that's Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Also going to talk about the 5 things you need to know about the current real estate market and the tale of 2 cities. What does that mean for you as a homeowner if you're around the airport and the surrounding areas? And my name is Levi Lascsak, and starting off with the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport and that expansion of the F terminal. Now, this is going to be the airport's 6th terminal, and this terminal is going to have 15 gates. The new Skylink station will connect it to other terminals, and unlike the crescent-shaped existing terminals, Terminal F will be rectangular. It's going to be built on the southwest side of the airport near the Express South parking lot. Now, the airport's board and operations committee is moving forward on this project. Innovation Next Plus, which is based in Irving, is handling the design and construction. The airport's operations committee is set to approve the contract officially. Construction is set to begin later in 2025 and is expected to be operational sometime in 2025. Now, not only is Terminal F going to add to the airport, but American Airlines and Dallas-Fort Worth is planning on investing another $3.2 billion into renovations into the airport. Now, renovations and expansion for the new gates will be at Terminals A and C. This will be modernizing projects around the airport and $2.72 billion on terminal improvements, including a major redesign of Terminal C. So upgrades to roadway and terminal access will be included. The Terminal C redesign and expansion will be done in phases and should be completed by 2028. These expansions will add 24 additional gates to existing terminals. Now let's cover a couple of recent articles that have come up about the Dallas, Texas real estate market, including the 5 things you need to know. Now, that's again a huge elephant in the room, but let's dive in here and look at the 5 things to know about the DFW housing market according to this article in the Dallas Morning News. It shows here that DFW has led the nation in building, but it isn't enough. Incomes haven't kept pace with home prices. Rents are well above pre-COVID levels. So I highlighted a few things in here. You can see here the region topped an estimated 8 million in population. They now say that surpassed Houston, making Dallas-Fort Worth the 4th largest metro behind New York, LA, Chicago, and they're expecting it to surpass Chicago possibly within the next decade or so, which is huge. And I saw another article recently that said may even pass New York by the end of the century. Now, I know that seems a little far off, but I don't know. I hope I make it there to the end of the century. But still, to become the #1 metro, and why is that? Is because Dallas isn't really landlocked. You can see the expansion start growing out now. Now, some will argue what that means to be in the Dallas area, once you start getting past an hour and a half, I'm sure. But otherwise, if it all stays interconnected and starts expanding out from Dallas-Fort Worth, then they'll consider that the Metroplex, right? And of course, we've mentioned before that we believe DFW will become DFFW, which is Dallas, Frisco, Fort Worth, and Frisco becoming the new hub. But let's look back into this article a little bit here. You can see higher prices and interest rates have led developers to adjust recently, coming up with their own solutions. So first thing off is they say DFW leads the nation in production of single-family homes and apartments. Now, more than 367,000 new homes and 181,000 apartments have been built in DFW in the last decade. Now, this leads to a 35% increase, but also the largest housing market for single-family new construction. And so nearly 43,000 new home closings in 2023, but there still is a shortage. And you can see here Zillow estimates that housing shortage grew from 4.5 million homes in 2022, which is up from 4.3 million. Now, last year, 1.4 million homes were built, which is a record, but the number of U.S. families increased by 1.8 million. So still, that's a significant shortage of what's being built by what's in demand. And you can see here, when we break that down to Dallas, they estimate the shortage to be around 48,150 homes. All right, so still a significant lack of inventory when it comes to the demand out there. And that's why we're seeing prices still holding steady or staying at highs, even though we're seeing decreased sales, is because of a supply-demand issue. Now, here's another big issue as we scroll down and point this out, is that affordability is a problem as well. So you can see here in Dallas-Fort Worth, home cost 4.4 times higher than the region's median household income. So residents need to make about $116,000 to buy a home. So if you're single, you've got to have a very high paying job. Now, if you're married, then maybe you can combine that. But right now, the median household income around the Dallas area is around $83,000. And that's of course a year or so behind, just based off the data in there as well. But you are needing around 116,000 in income to buy a home right now based on the median price. But we know that a lot of jobs and opportunities are moving into the Dallas area, and they are coming from very expensive states like California, New York, and Illinois, as those companies relocate here. So they are bringing some higher incomes with them. And you can see here on this chart right here, how much home prices have increased to incomes. You can see incomes are kind of holding, steady, of course, growing slightly with time, but then 2021, 2022 really spiked home values significantly. And because of the shortage there, that's kept homes high on the prices right now. Now, they've also, right now, rates just dropped. So we're looking at 6.4 currently or so. And they say on average, that's brought another 2 million buyers back into the market. And on average, that could save you $200 to $300 in your mortgage payment. So that right there has increased affordability just a little bit. So as we see these rates start to come down, and as we get closer to the election, very interesting things are going to start happening. And so this is the question you have to ask yourself is, do you believe home prices are going to come down if more buyers are qualified, to make those purchases? Or is that going to drive prices up because inventory is still low? So as we go down a little bit further in this article, you can see here developers are trying to come up with their own solutions to adjust for higher interest rates and building costs. This builder in particular is offering 3 different home types ranging from 1,600 to 1,800 square feet. And this is less than the usual 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom starter home. Right now, that's become 1,600 square feet. So you see builders, what they're doing is they're reducing sizes of the homes they're building as far as what they consider starter homes. And just by reducing a home by 200 to 400 square feet, it helps them reduce their cost. It helps them bring the cost or the price down of that home as well. So they're trying to get more people in there if they're building in that lower price range. And as we scroll down here, it says even larger builders like D.R. Horton are also adopting this, where they're building smaller homes. I know a lot of the communities that are going up in North Dallas, you're seeing some in the 2s, you're seeing some in the 3s and 4s, where they're starting out with homes there. Now, when you compare that to the 5s and 600,000 range, significant difference on square footage, of course, and beds and baths. So, I mean, overall, this is also saying average home sizes were down 2% from a year ago. So things are getting very interesting. And then, of course, what about interest rates? Again, this brings into question right now, this article, even just being a week or two old at 6.73, we know the rates have recently dropped to 6.4. And actually, by the time you even see this video, it could be different. I mean, information and news is changing so quickly this day and age that it's hard to even keep up with the video content to stay relevant from a week-to-week basis. So 1% drop in interest rates could lower monthly mortgage payments by around $200. And we've already seen that coming down from around 7.3 to 6.7 to 6.4 now. And actually, if I pull up and take a quick look just to look at today, yeah, okay, 6.5. So we've had a little bit of a back and forth there. So 6.4, 6.5, still a lot better than what we've seen over the last year, 7.5 on average. And we just did a video about this too, talking about the refinance market and how that's driving that already. You can see here lot prices are up. Okay, let's take a look at Irving, okay, which are on both sides of the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. Now, because with the expansion there, and you got to look at the equity that is in these homes right now if you're thinking about making that move sometime soon. So Southlake is the blue line here, Irving is the red line. So if you're looking for affordable housing, Irving's going to definitely be an option for you. If you are looking for more expensive housing, Southlake is going to be the option. But look at this. If we go back 5 years in, let's see here, January of 2019, and actually what I should do is I should look at July, but we'll just go back 5 years here. So average or median house price in Southlake was $842,000. And look at it now. Look how much this has jumped up since July 2024. $1.7 million for the median home price. So if you take a look at that, that means on average, if you bought back in 2019, you could be sitting on almost $900,000 in equity. Now, that's a huge jump. So let's even go back 1 month and look at 1.24 million. That looks like it's more in line with what home prices have been in Southlake since the boom of 2021. So even if we look at 1.2 million, that's still a 47% increase in the last 5 years in home value, resulting in almost 400,000 in equity on average in the Southlake area. So if you are thinking about selling right now with prices being where they're at, which are probably peaking at this moment, I don't know if they could go a little bit higher, especially as rates come down. But of course, everybody is predicting a market crash as well. And if the market does crash, then this may be the best opportunity if you're looking at making a move. But on average, and let's see what caused this. Almost a 500,000. Actually, it is a $500,000 increase in 1 month. So if I take a look at what happened in the last 60 days for sales, first of all, we see here we got a $6.5 million sell, a $4.7 million sell, and a 4.4 and another 4.3. So just in the last 2 months, almost 20 million across 4 homes. That is going to drive that price up significantly. But really, if you look at this over the last 2 months, 56 homes that have sold out of 68 are over $1 million. So that's what you're dealing with in Southlake, okay? And of course, with the expansion of the airport and all the corporations and companies making the move in, that's probably only going to drive Southlake up that much higher. But I would base it off this 1.2 more than the 1.7. I think that was driven mainly by that 6 million and the 3-4 million dollar sales. You don't see those that often in Southlake. The prices usually are around 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the highest. So when you throw in a couple of 4 million and even a $6 million sell, that's going to drive that up for right now. But still, in the last 5 years, you could be sitting on average about 400,000 in equity in Southlake. Now, if we look at Irving, okay, it looks pretty flat, but they started out around 271,000 for the median price and now sitting around 369,000. So that's still a 36% increase in home value on average, almost $100,000 in equity, even in the Irving area. So if you're a local, depending on which side of the airport you live on, you could be sitting on anywhere from $100,000 to $400,000 in equity. So where do you go from there if you decide to move? Well, of course, a lot of people are looking at these new construction communities, right up 121, Frisco, Prosper, Salina, Melissa, Anna. Now, depending on if you commute quite often to the airport for work or travel, then, those are definitely going to be a lot further than Southlake or Irving. But also, if you want to get out of the flight path as well, because that is the downside to Southlake and Irving, is they are a little bit on those flight paths. You can see, if I zoom in here a little bit, let me get rid of this. You'll see this runway right there. This is a major runway right there. And so of course they're going to be, they fly in over Southlake all the time. And then you've got another runway here and one right there. So they're coming in over Irving. So from Irving, they've got that flight path. Southlake, you've got this flight path. So depending on where you live, if you're over here a little bit more on the west side of Southlake, you should be good. Or the southwest side of Irving, you're a little bit out of the flight path except for this runway right here. Irving, you're going to kind of hit both sides. So if you want to get out of that, then of course a lot of people are making their move. Now also you've got Argyle up here, of course, where people are making their move to, up here. Oh, look at that. There's a Buc-ee's. All right. So, a lot of new construction and activity happening up here, and you can still find some affordable new construction homes up in that area. But overall, a lot going on and a lot to think about, especially with the way the market is changing. The real estate agent landscape is changing as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you also want to know what your home value is, you can check that link in the description below. And if you missed our update last time, check out this video on Preston Road. There's a lot of construction happening on there as well. And I know that'll keep you up to date, and we'll see you on the next video.